Hello, hello, and welcome to my thoughts about what's happening in the world today and how we've changed from when I was young, whether it's good or it's bad. Children are children and play is play, but we did it so differently when I was young. Because the main thing is, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cell phones, and we played outdoors. We were not afraid to play outdoors. We were not afraid that somebody would kidnap us. I think, as a matter of fact, my mother hoped someone would in a hurry. But whatever it was, we didn't. We didn't. We weren't afraid to play outdoors. And what we would do, because we were little, and you have to understand, telephones were always high up, right? And if you were 5 or 6 years old, or 4 or 5, you couldn't reach the telephone, and you couldn't remember how to dial the phone anyway. So when we wanted to play with someone, we would call on them. We would go call for them. That's what we would do. My mother would say, "Oh, go call for Marcia Zimmerman." And I would run over to Marcia Zimmerman's house and I would say, "Marcia." And if she came out, then we would play, and we would play tag, and I would always lose, or we would play jump rope and I'd fall on my head. But that's what we did. But we have two good stories about that. I think it's a shame that children can't do that. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I get this vision of me as a very small child with scabs on my knees and pigtails um, and a nervous look, standing outside my friend's window calling, "Yoo-hoo, let's play, let's play." But my favorite story about that is my cousin Lois Ann had a speech impediment. She had a very bad speech impediment, and and again, we used to call for people. So she wanted to. Her mother told her that she should go play with Elizabeth, and Lois Ann said, "Okay, I'll go call for her." And she went away from the house, and then she came back, and she was in tears, and she said, Elizabeth's mother made me go home because she said that I was talking nasty. And my Aunt Hazel said, "Well, what did you say, honey?" She said, "Well, I called her." And and my Aunt Hazel said, "Well, how did you call her? Show me how you called her." And she said, "Itchy bitch, itchy bitch, itchy bitch," because that was the only way she could say Elizabeth. But I also remember that there was a woman a little girl, an absolutely gorgeous little girl, whose mother dressed her like a magazine centerfold, whose name was Carol Reinstein. And I was little, but this one was minute. She was the smallest little thing. And I just loved her. And I used to walk down Islington Street all by myself and go call on Carol to see if Carol would play with me. And I would stand outside the door and I would call, "Carol, Carol." And she would come out and she would say, "Put out your hand." And I would put out my hand, and then she'd smack it and go back in because she had a huge sense of entitlement. But that's what we used to do. We used to play. And when we played outside, we didn't do as I see the children do because we didn't have fancy things. We had to use our resources. We played hopscotch. We played spin the bottle. We played pick up sticks. Um, and I think these are games that nobody plays anymore. And I think what a shame that we can't do that again. And especially now, because now we're staying away from each other. And the thing about the play that we did when we were children is we played together. And I think that this is an art that I'm hoping we don't lose during this period of isolation. The ability to play together, not on a screen, not not secondhand, away from one another or through a window, but together. And so I'm hoping that when this is all over, we will once more reinstate that wonderful tradition of running outside and calling for our friends and have them come out and play tag and play hide and seek and play with each other. And thanks so much for joining me.